again, and welcome back. This is the Voiceover Gurus podcast. I'm Linda Bruno with the lovely and fashionable JJ Wilson.
Hi, Linda Bruno. How are you?
And here at the Voiceover Gurus, we like to keep it real, don't we?
Oh, don't we? Don't we? We had one of our students at our workout last night says, "You guys are tough."
I was just going to mention that to you.
And I loved your reply. You said, "No, we're real."
Yeah.
And, you know, it's better. She said, no, I really appreciate that. And it seemed to me like she'd been to several other classes and things like that, and everybody was lying to her. Oh, that was fantastic. Let's move on.
Well, she is out on the West Coast.
Right.
And there is a little bit of a different approach personality-wise, So I don't think people are as honest as they could be.
No.
And they're
that's just
they're
a
very
waste
nice.
of money.
And, over here on the East Coast, we're like, come on, get out of here. You're not going to do this for a living.
You're in friggin' New York, you know?
Right. But that was the whole point of me initially moving to New York, because I wanted to get that hard criticism so I could become better.
Yep. Yeah, I don't want to take a class where they lie to me.
I'm like, you don't pay us to lie to you. You're not going to get anything out of that. And she was like, no, I agree.
No, I think she enjoyed the class very much, so keep us East Coasters in mind.
Yes, we're still very nice. We're just honest.
Oh, we are very nice. Sometimes we send flowers when we get done, and thank you notes and stuff like that. No, but seriously, she was a working talent, done a little bit of VO, did some on camera, I guess, for a few years, and I was just, really kind of. I figured since she already had a little bit of experience, I could go a little bit deeper and a little bit more direct, and. There were some mistakes being made that were just basic stuff, and maybe nobody ever taught her that basic stuff. So I think she got a lot out of the class. I really do. And for someone who has had taken a lot of LA things and not gotten that from anybody is surprising to me.
Yeah. Well,
it's surprising.
I know she learned some stuff because of the feedback she was giving us, but, we still encountered the same thing that a lot of people have an issue with, and that's sometimes just letting go, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
And she was kind of kicking herself, which I didn't want her to beat herself up over it. I mean, it happened. She's like, I don't understand why I'm not doing this. But then finally, we give her a good character key to do it as a drunk person, and suddenly this whole other character came out.
It was truly amazing. It really was.
Yeah.
It really was. It's so much fun to watch the character change completely. And
It's like it gives you a license to be free with the character key.
Yes. As soon as I get my license back, I'm going to be free.
But that was fun last night. We had a good time.
It was. A lot of good people, a lot of fun.
So we got an interesting question from
What's the question?
Yes, the question. From a student who
somebody we
haven't seen
know
in a while. But we'll talk about. I think his second question is good to talk about. He says, "I've gone weeks and weeks auditioning. I just get shortlisted, and then when I get busy with life and take a week off or so, my first day back, I get booked. It's happened twice. I know we always talk about voice acting being a 24/7 gig, but do you find benefits of just taking a break from it all sometimes? What do you think, JJ?"
Nope. Because you've missed a week of auditions. You could have booked 5 more. Do you not agree?
In the physical sense, I agree. But maybe in the mental sense, take a break.
Yeah, but if you're just starting out, you don't, I'm going to law school, but I'm going to take a semester off. No, I'm sorry.
No, it's not that. I think more
I'm tired.
About it's the energy you're putting out there. So I think that if you start to focus on something else, like you with woodworking, you're releasing it for a little while. You're releasing that desire or the need to have to audition and book jobs. You've already auditioned for the day.
I've never taken a week off, ever.
Right. No, I'm not saying that. It's more of a mental vacation where you say, you know what? I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to go do something completely different right now.
Oh, yes. In that sense, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Doing the woodworking gets me completely away from this for a second, and then the phone goes off, and it's the client, and then, I do, and then I go back out there because I'm angry.
Well, that's not good. But no. Yes, that I think can be very advantageous is to, get your mind off of it. Next thing you know, oh my goodness, you've drawn in new clients. People find you suddenly. Yeah. It's because you released it. You're not hanging on to it so tight. Yeah,
that's the hard part is letting it go. You've got to just, after you do the audition, oh, I've been shortlisted. No. Don't worry about that.
Right.
9 times out of 10, that means you probably won't get it.
Right.
I used to find that with Voice 123. I used to be ranked number 1 out of 35 auditions. I have never booked a job as the number 1 person ever on Voice 123. Number 9, lots of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because,
I've had
by
that
the time
too, yeah.
they listen to yours and then they listen to the other 80, and by the time they get done, you're number 22.
Right.
So it's just, you forget about it.
Yeah, try to anyway. Take that little mental break.
Yes.
Go do something else.
Yes.
As long as you don't go away for too long.
Right. Exactly. But that is the way the business works. You never know when you're going to book something. You just never know.
But it is, as we've discussed before, that energy shift when you say, I'm going to go away for a week, that suddenly all the clients come out of the woodwork and need you to do something.
Well, of course, they know you've gone. I've been working for Channel 7 in Miami for, I think, 14 years now.
Yeah.
And I live in Nashville, and I swear to God, the man has a camera on the front of my house.
He knows what you're doing.
I get in the car, and I get to either a doctor's appointment or a restaurant for lunch, and he sends me an email with a gig. Okay, we need this in a hurry. I call him up and say, do you watch me? You don't send me stuff ever when I'm here.
Right.
So it's hard to even go to lunch, let alone take a week off. But we kid about that back and forth. But yes, you got to be available. Available.
It's true. But what do they say? Don't kill the goose, the golden goose, either. If you overwork yourself.
I've never heard that expression.
Never heard that.
Don't kill the golden goose.
It's like a old story where this guy has a goose that lays these golden eggs.
Oh, yes. No, that I know. Yes. But you don't want to kill him, no.
Well, he gets greedy because he figures he'll open up the goose and get all the eggs. So he winds up killing the goose and kills the source of the eggs.
Is he a surgeon?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's starting to sound like a soap opera. We'll operate. We'll get the eggs out.
But that's the premise. What I'm talking about is if you overwork yourself or stress yourself out, you might be killing your chances of succeeding.
You're exactly right, and I'm a perfect example of that.
Oh, yes, Mr. Heart Attack?
Yeah, well, I don't worry about much. But I'm fine now. I'm feeling much better now.
That's good. You got medication and you got your woodworking.
I do, and that's a really cool combination. Oh, look, man, my finger's on the floor. Oh, wow. Sinead,
I thought that was a good question.
Kit. What?
What?
Bring the sewing kit. I think I'd like it quilted, man, okay? Anyway, yes. But yes, and now you had another question about, which I thought was interesting, about recording, a technical question. What was that? What was the
Okay, so the question is, how do you sync audio with a video when provided? Do you watch while you record or record then sync or something else?
Well, 99 times out of 100, if they send you a video that they want you to read to, there's a scratch track with it.
Mm-hmm. What is a scratch track?
A scratch track is somebody who 9 times out of 10 doesn't speak English very well and doesn't like to breathe. And they read this. What they do is they actually read the whole script first, then they build the video to it, and then they send it to me and say, okay, I need you to read it with the guy, our editor, who read it originally, so you can match his timing so we don't have to change the video.
Right.
And sometimes it's just, the guy's in Australia and he talks like this and he never takes a friggin' breath. He just keeps talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And you got to keep up with him. And what I do is I just, I read along. I bring it into Pro Tools, the audio and the video. Mm-hmm. And I don't look at that. I just listen to his audio and try and start and stop when he does. Usually
interesting.
He talks for a while and then stops, then they show some video, and then he'll pick up again and talk some more. And I do it hunk by hunk. And it's all the words don't have to match, but as long as you start and stop at the same time, for the most part, you'll be good to go.
Right.
But it's not an easy thing to do, and watch the script and pay attention to everything else, and then go, my God, take a breath, man, take a breath.
Well, for me, it's one or the other, and I'm usually always looking at the script, and I do the same thing. I follow the audio guide.
Yes.
Even though, because when Disney sends stuff, a lot of times they will send the video reference, so I do import it into Pro Tools. And the same thing, I go by the scratch track.
Right.
And match with that. But now I just upgraded my computer, my Mac, to Catalina, because I got a new Mac. And Pro Tools does not allow QuickTime audio to be imported or whatever. So there's all these errors. So now I cannot import the freaking video or audio into Pro Tools.
You know what I do sometimes?
What?
It's sometimes, because I have trouble with that every now and then myself. What I do is I turn up my microphone some, so not enough to cause feedback from the speakers. I hit record, and I play their file on my computer out loud, so the microphone picks it up and it records the audio to Pro Tools.
Ah, that's good. Then you get that.
Yeah, I just go and have a smoke while it happens, and then I come back, and there it is. And then I can, because I don't need the video, really.
Right.
There's no reason to have the video. But that's the way I normally do it. If it's a short thing, I'll just let it record, through the microphone.
I was going to try, opening it up into a QuickTime file and just running Pro Tools and basically voicing to the audio.
Yeah,
that's
that's exactly what I was. Yeah.
That's
I let
what I'm
his audio record to Pro Tools. I move it down to a different track, and then I just read to his audio.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you do import the audio and the video, and you have that luxury at this point, I always go into the mix window and I lower by at least 50% the scratch track.
Absolutely, because you don't want it to bleed through the headphones onto the track that you're doing.
Right. So you just have a very minimal amount of sound to give you that guide while you're reading to the video.
Right. And one final tip, which I've done several times, hit solo on your track when you bounce it. Otherwise, you're bouncing your track and the other guy's track, and then you send it to the client, and he goes, I can hear both of you.
Right. That's
shit.
right.
So make sure you hit solo or mute on the other guy's track so that they only get yours.
You know what? I don't bounce to disc that often.
No? Do you bounce to where?
What's that? Say it again.
I say, where do you bounce?
I don't bounce. I just do a shortcut with Pro Tools and I export. And so I just export a single track. So I do Shift Apple K. That's the shortcut.
Right. Shift
and it
Apple
brings
K.
up an export window. And then from there, you can select WAV, AIF, MP3. You can put in the specs of what you want to export as. So I don't bounce.
Oh.
I only bounce if it's multiple tracks that have to be bounced together. Like for this podcast, But otherwise, no. Shift Apple K, people. It is the best freaking shortcut that I learned from Steve Swenson from HSN back in the day with Pro Tools.
Yeah, I just hit bounce and I do offline bounce. So it does, an 18-minute file
quick
in 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. And it's same thing, only different.
Pro Tools has to get their act together, man. They're not updated with Catalina. And
that's not good. That's not good. No.
Yeah, it's like you gotta stay on the ball with this stuff. I've had to basically bring everything else in to try to make sure it works, like Source Connect and all that, which so far so good.
Good.
But Pro Tools has been my one issue.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yep. When I retire, everything goes in the lake. Call me on my home number. Call me on my home number. Yep.
Can I have your microphones?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I'll be retiring
I don't
before
want you to retire.
Well, no, I'll be 82 because I have these student school loans from my son. So, yeah, I'll die before I retire.
Isn't that the life of a lot of us voice actors? We'll die before we retire.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's amazing. I don't know.
But you love what you do. You love it.
I absolutely love what I do. I'm so lucky because I have this that I love, and I have the woodworking that I love. So every day I get to do two things I love and make money at both.
That's great.
And I mean, my God. I mean, well, I do throw some stuff away in the workshop, but you know.
One of our students is also a professional chef, and he loves that job.
Yeah, I always ask him what's cooking.
So he's happy as well because he's got two passions that he's able to work in.
Right. He's not a chicken about it either.
Do you have any other tips for technical stuff with editing, though you can pass along while we're on that
Yeah,
topic?
I thought I was talking to somebody the other day, I think one of our students during a session. Yes, it was, anyway, doesn't matter who it was. I said, do you know how to take breaths out? And he said, what? And I said, well, sometimes, you get a great read and it's 32 seconds. Mm-hmm. And if you take out, breaths are between 1 and, 0.1 and 0.2 seconds long each. Mm-hmm. And if you smoke, 0.3. But what you do is you highlight the breath, hit delete, and then move the file to the right of the breath you just took out and move it about halfway in towards the file before it. And, of course, move the cursor back and play it so that it doesn't sound like... And then we all went to the store. It's gotta still have the flow, only without the breath. But if you do that, if you take 5 or 6 breaths during a 30-second spot, you can save a half a second. And, that'll bring it down a little bit. And then you can head and tail it and then speed it up a little bit. But, yeah, that's how you take breaths out. And I don't recommend it doing it a lot. But unless your client is used to you doing that, like for car spots and stuff, we're constantly doing that because they're all too long. I've had car spots with no breaths. None. It's just one long sentence. And it was still 18. So it was supposed to be a 15.
Well, it's just like with syncing to video. You have to fit into that little window that you're given.
Yeah.
No matter what.
How fast
and like
talk.
you said, some people that do scratch tracks speak a lot faster.
Yes.
And they don't have any expression in their delivery. And so as a voice talent, our expression will take a little more time.
Exactly right.
But
exactly right.
You have to be able to edit that and move it and shift it so that way you can get it just right.
Right. And you may, sometimes when they do lists in the middle of a sentence, you can go to the store, get a new boat. Go to the store, get a new boat. But they do it really, really fast, so you have to take out the pauses between. And it says, get a boat, go to the store, get a boat, go to the store. And then keep moving on. You have to move all the files. But yeah, it's an important thing to learn. Pro Tools you can go to school for like 5 years to learn Pro Tools.
Yeah.
But we're just sitting here recording one track.
I know.
It's really not that big a deal.
Pro Tools is such overkill for what we do.
It really is. It really is. And I hit my space bar so many times over the last 3 years, I wore out I hit it one day a week ago, the space bar, and it flew up off the keyboard and landed on the floor. And I said, honey, I think I need a new keyboard. She said, well, if you wouldn't bang on it. But I tend to do that when I'm done. I go, it's okay.
It's a sense of completion.
It is. Oh, thank God. Thank God. But yeah, I had to get a new keyboard, and the other one was the old Apple keyboard that was flat. The keys were all flat.
Oh,
and
I don't like
now
that
I've got one with regular keys, so I've had some interesting spellings lately. Because my fat fingers, pushing 3 letters at a time. Hello, and
yeah, I don't like that too flat. I use a Logitech that's Bluetooth.
Gotcha. I have the Macaulay, and I do have 2 blue teeth, but I've got a dentist appointment next Thursday. Oh, that should be fixed. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Oh, what about any plugins in Pro Tools that you use?
Well, you have to plug in the computer, otherwise it won't work, Linda. Duh.
Okay, we've got that plug-in.
All right. Plugins, I use a little bit of EQ sometimes. I use a little bit. I don't know enough about. I use, maybe a little bit of compression. I don't ever DS anything because you always have to ask the person you're working for if they want you to do anything to the file.
Right.
Before they get it. Because if you do that to the file and send it to them, they cannot undo it.
Right.
And some of them are very particular. Very particular. If dry, nothing. But every now and then I'll crisp something up, if it's muddy or requires a trailerish type read, I'll just increase the highs a little bit to make it cut just a little bit more. But I don't futz around with that stuff so much.
Yeah, I don't know how to use any of that stuff. The only thing I use is the mouth declicker.
The mouth declicker? Wait, I got to look for that. Wait.
It's awesome.
Oh, my God. Mouth declicker.
The Declicker, the RX7 plug-in pack.
Yes.
And I use that every day. I use it all the time.
Okay.
And it removes these lovely clicks that come sometimes from too much sinus medication or just getting older. Brian Lee was the one that turned me on to it because he was like, Lynn, we're getting older. You need a declicker. And
Gotcha.
I was like, no, I'm not buying a declicker. And then, of course, I bought the declicker, and now I can't live without the declicker. But I know, and it pisses me off because he's always got such good ideas. Okay. But yeah, you know what? I was talking to Cliff Zellman yesterday, who's producing my auto demo, and I had asked him his particulars about does he want anything debreathed in car spots.
Right.
He said he doesn't. But of course, you would have a relationship with the producer to know what they like and don't like.
Right.
So he says if asked, he would prefer that you send him a 32-second spot, and he will do what he has to do.
And let them do the work, yeah.
To make it fit. I was always under the impression of, you know what, I need to send it at 29.5, no matter what. And he's not of that school of thought.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So,
Interesting. Yeah, the clients I have prefer me to do that because it saves them time on their end.
Right.
But there are other, people who say, just give me the raw file, man.
I'll do it.
I want all the takes. I want everything.
So you just have to, like you said, you just have to ask your client.
Yeah. Yes,
What do you
exactly.
prefer? Yeah.
Parts is parts, some people will say. He said, you never know. The thing that you hate and you've redone it is probably the one I'm going to love. So leave it in there, please. And I'm okay.
Oh,
okay.
Another thing, too, disclaimers. You don't have to be speed reading in a disclaimer. And I don't do a speed read, but I do a quick read.
Yes.
So
yeah.
You don't have to think, oh my God, I gotta talk like that. But don't record it like that.
That's how I used to read the kids' bedtime stories because I really didn't want to.
Really, really quickly. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Once upon a time, there's a little bear, and then he got shot, and at the end, they all happy ever after. But, Daddy, you just start. Good night.
Basically, read the disclaimer at a quicker pace, but don't get crazy. This way, the editor can do what they need to do to it.
Speed it up so that it's completely unintelligible and means nothing.
Right, exactly.
I love what they're doing on TV lately with all the vitamins and the brain medicine made from jellyfish testicles or whatever it is. I don't know, Girthagen or I don't know what it is, but all of these ads, if you push pause and read the fine print, it says, the FDA knows nothing about this. It doesn't do anything to help prevent or cure any disease. Then why in the hell am I going to buy jellyfish testicles and take it in a pill form every day? I wake up, people. It says right there on the screen that it doesn't work.
No one wants to take the time to read that.
No, I know.
Just tell me what I can do to get me from point A to point B fastest. That's pretty much it.
And I didn't know jellyfish had testicles, so that was, kind of enlightening for me. Makes it harder to swim, but Oh, God,
I always
wait a
learn
minute.
something from you every time.
It's tentacles. Oh, That's what it was. Oh, well.
Oh, goodness, JJ. Fantastic.
No, that's a spray cleaner. Hey, did you hear the Pillsbury Doughboy died?
You did this one a couple podcasts ago.
Okay. I take medication, you know.
I know. We're not even answering the Pillsbury Doughboy one.
Yeah, his sister Dill was there. Anyway,
God. So, JJ, doing anything good for Thanksgiving? I know that this will air after Thanksgiving, but...
No, unfortunately, the COVID has struck close to home. We have to stay home. I saw my grandchildren 2 nights ago with my other grandchild who drove down from Columbus, Cleveland, with my oldest stepson and his wife, who's 8 months pregnant. We went out to dinner with my ex-son-in-law and my two grandchildren. And the next day, my daughter called and said, "First of all, why are you having dinner with my ex-husband?" And I explained to him that I said I do things for the children. You know, Adeline really wanted to see Charlie and Jack, and I don't, whatever. But anyway, she called the next day and said the school just called, and Charlie's best friend has been diagnosed with COVID.
Aye.
So I had to call my my stepson on his way home and go, I have some wonderful news. So Janine and I, we were supposed to go up and do a family thing, but we're just going to stay here.
Yeah, that's the advice that the CDC is giving.
We're going to have ground up turkey on toast and probably do stuff in the workshop. And we're just going to stay away from everybody because it's really getting frightening.
Yeah, I know.
It really is.
Everyone needs to stay safe at this point. We're doing the same thing, too. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything.
Yep, and this year I've decided I'm going to kill the turkey before I stuff it because last year, the damn thing just wouldn't hold still. It was impossible.
You are sick.
Here, boy.
Mentally sick. Okay, I think we did a pretty good couple of tips there for editing and hopefully answer the students' questions okay today.
Yes,
but
I think
thank you for sending them in. Anyone have any more questions?
Yeah, please, send in your questions.
Us.
I love answering questions.
Email us.
Email us and send us some woodworking questions.
Yeah? You can email Linda at voiceover.guru. That's an easy one. Or info@voiceover.guru because we get that as well. Join us for a workout in December. It would be nice to meet you if you're a frequent listener of the podcast.
That's right. Or a perspiring actor.
Perspiring. Yes, perspiring.
Oh, aspiring actor.
If you're really clueless about voiceover and you're like, I don't know if I even want to take a class, you can download our book. Buy the book because the book goes through all the basics and then you'd have a head start if you came to a workout because then you would understand some of the terminology that we're saying to you.
Right, and some of the curse words. Right.
So, and that's the voiceover starter guide. But thank you, JJ, of course, as always, for joining me.
Thank you, Linda, for always joining me.
I join you, you join me.
I do, and we will.
Everybody have a great rest of your week.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic, and so am I.
Bye.
Bye.